Hey, it's Raymond. You're watching RPAD TV, and we have an excellent show for you today that is all about Marvel Spotlight. Marvel Spotlight is a new label created by Marvel Studios that's going to be a little bit different in many ways. We'll get more into that later, but first, let's say hi to my guest. With me today is the excellent Paul Semel and the wonderful Ray Carsillo. What's up, guys?
What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty okay. Now, both of these guys are excellent friends and longtime video game journalists, but they have their own projects cooking. So let's get an update on those. Ray, why don't we start with you? What's going on with Geeks Who Like Sports?
Yes, so Geeks Who Like Sports, we are back. Our second season of our podcast. We are back. We're doing our usual spiel of breaking down everything in the sports world, all the big stories, and then getting into all the geekdom. So everything ranging from we give our spoiler reviews for all the Marvel stuff, all the way up to, of course, who we think is going to win the Super Bowl and what do we think of baseball, hot stove, and all that other fun stuff. And my New York Rangers getting off to a fantastic start so far in the hockey season. So, yeah.
What do you got cooking in the next episode?
Well, we're gonna probably that's a great question. Probably we got a lot of stuff. Obviously, the football season's ongoing, so that's kind of a weekly thing. But we got a lot of trailers that have dropped. The Pokemon Concierge TV show. We've got the Madam Web trailer, which looks absolutely terrible. I mean, this might be the worst thing to ever have been released in cinema. That's how bad I think it looks. And then of course the government now stepping into the Coyote versus Acme situation.
Yes,
Warner Brothers is as terrible as it gets. I've been saying that for years now. Everybody starting to believe me. So
Zaslav is terrible,
awful.
But real quick note on Madam Web. I read a comment that described the Madam Web trailer as it looks like a fake movie that the characters in Marvel movies are watching. So I'm like, that's a great description for it. Yeah. Now, of course, Paul is a frequent guest here. Paul, what's going on your website?
Same old. Got lots of author interviews coming up. I've got some interesting game things coming up. I hope. We'll see. Did a couple of interesting interviews this week, including one with a guy named Dave Chisholm, who wrote and drew a graphic novel biography of Miles Davis.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of cool. And actually, if you know anything about Miles, you know that his trajectory went all over the place. And the art reflects that. The other thing, and I brought a handy little thing.
He's Carrot Top.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Got props. I also interviewed the new Jimi Hendrix Hollywood Bowl August 18, 1967 album that came out last week.
Wait, he's dead. How did you interview him?
I didn't interview him. I just reviewed the CD, the music. It's out now. It's and for people who don't know anything about it, it's basically came out a week before his album came out in America when he opened at the Hollywood Bowl, opened the show for the Mamas and the Papas of all people.
That's excellent.
Which is not as funny as the idea of him opening for the Monkees.
Yes.
Which also happened like a few weeks prior to this.
Guys, you may be shocked to know that the Monkees crowd did not like Jimi Hendrix.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a thing today. I think Mickey Dolenz was interviewed because he's got a new EP out where he covers REM of all things.
Wow.
And which is weird enough. And somebody asked him about the Hendrix thing, and he said like that they were all like mortified because they knew how cool he was, and like everybody at the show was like booing him. And
so I read an old interview with the Monkees before, and they were talking about that. And the second time they saw Hendrix, Mickey was like, "Hey, that's the guy that can play guitar with his teeth. We should get him." I'm like, okay, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned in the intro, today's episode is about Marvel Spotlight. This is a new banner for Marvel projects. They announced this along with the Echo trailer, and they promised a few things about it. Among other things, in addition to airing on Disney Plus, Echo will be on Hulu as well. And I wanted to remind you guys that I am giving away this Turtle Beach Stealth Pro headset. If you leave a comment during the live stream, you get 2 chances to win. If you leave a comment after this has been live, you will get 1 chance to win. I'll have more information on that contest later, but let's kick things off with what we thought of the Echo trailer. Paul, what were your impressions of it?
Oh, well, this is going to be a very negative conversation for me.
Oh, wow.
Look, Echo obviously was introduced in the Hawkeye show.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, was of all the major characters, of which there were a bunch, she was the least interesting. And so for me, the trailer itself was interesting, especially the way it was structured. But because I don't have much interest in the character, I'm like, now, am I going to watch it? Yeah, because you say anything is Marvel and I'm going to watch it. And plus, it's the whole point of having a Disney Plus subscription. So I will watch it, and I am curious to see how it fits in with everything else, how it connects to Hawkeye and obviously to Daredevil. But if it wasn't like a Marvel show, like I don't think I would care.
For people that are not familiar with the Echo character, she was introduced in Daredevil, so it was supposed to be in the comics.
Oh, in the comics. Okay.
So it was supposed to be a contrast of Daredevil being blind and Echo being deaf. They just needed a dumb person so they could be deaf, dumb, and blind. That should have been a super team. But real quick tangent about Madam Web here from Carlos leaves this great comment. Madam Web looks like someone wanted to make a Spider-Man movie, but found out last minute they were unable to use Spider-Man in their movie. It's interesting that you say that, Carlos, because the comment I referred to earlier named the movie Spider People, No Home for Us. So, I thought that was great.
And they got 3 Spider Women in it, Madam Web, they've got all these other characters except for, the one that actually brings them all together.
Well, they got presumably that's his dad, Ben Parker, but I don't know what they're doing.
Don't get me started on that. There's hints of now the Trouble storyline from it just. God.
I'll let you and Lee take care of that on Geeks.
Yeah, we'll handle that next on Geeks Who Like Sports next week. Yeah, that's a whole other tangent.
So Ray, how did you like the Echo trailer?
To channel my inner Jay Sherman, it stinks.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it.
Wow.
I'm really with Paul on this. I think they did a bad job of making a great comic book character interesting here in the MCU, and partially, again, that's partially because she wasn't the main character of Hawkeye, obviously.
Right.
And I think I don't think the trailer did her justice. I don't think she's the most interesting character in the trailer. Kingpin's the most interesting character in the trailer. It should be called the Kingpin Show. Like, I mean, she's really, I mean, the fact that the trailer is already making her look like a secondary character in her own show does not bode well for me. I think it's also another bad sign that they're dropping the whole thing all at once. Right, this is going to be the first MCU show where every episode drops all at the same time. Right. I think this is a really bad sign. It's a really bad omen. And considering it feels like they finally righted the ship with their last couple of projects with the Marvels and Loki, and it feels like they're going to go completely off the rails here with this. It's really a shame.
It's funny when you said the Kingpin Show, I was thinking that he was hosting his own late night show. My next guest that I will beat the shit out of.
I was thinking variety show, the Kingpin Show with the Kingpin dancers and the Kingpin orchestra.
If you've never seen Dancing Monkeys
here to show us how to make a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys a question though, related to what Ray Carsillo said about them dropping all the episodes at once. What then do you think about the fact that they're dropping all 9 episodes of What If on a daily basis starting, I think, December 22nd?
See, I think that's going to have something more to do with the show itself, and there's going to be something gimmicky about it, right? Because we already know that at least one of the episodes is going to be like a Christmas episode.
Right.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's something about the new year, if there's something about the time. I think that's more a timing thing, and I think that was more deliberate, whereas I think the Echo thing feels like we're trying to sweep this under the rug.
And plus, people are off for the holidays, so it gives them something to do.
So you think that they want to try to air the Christmas episode either on the 24th or the 25th or the 26th, but it's deep enough in the show that they couldn't do that on a weekly basis because of
Yeah, I think that it's going to make sense why they're doing it every day, because that too. Again, if they had dropped just everything like on Christmas, then I would say there's a huge problem. But I think that the fact that they're doing it like come back tomorrow, same Marvel time, same Marvel channel, right? Like I think that there's going to be some. I think that feels more deliberate and more specific than Echo being like it drops January 10th. Have fun, bye.
And the What If trailer makes that show look much better than the Echo trailer makes the
Absolutely.
Echo
show. What If looks. I'm already on board for What If. Cannot wait. Love the first season. Can't wait for season 2.
Minor complaint. The screenshot they used of I think it's Tony, right? And for the YouTube trailer. At a glance, I was like, why the fuck is Russell Brand in What If? Like,
I don't think we really need to worry about Russell Brand being in a Marvel thing anytime soon.
So the Kingpin appears popular in the comments section. Carla says, Ray is not wrong. Give us a Kingpin series. And Nate adds, I'd watch the Kingpin late night talk show. Yes, especially if he beats the crap out of his guests.
Yes.
I think that's a money idea. So I was surprised that you guys were so negative on the Echo trailer. I mean, I wasn't expecting greatness because I didn't like her adaptation. I love the character in the comics.
Yeah.
I wasn't thrilled about her in Hawkeye, but I was interested in the trailer, but as Ray said, largely because of Kingpin, as both of you said. I mean, excellent actor, excellent character. So, and a perfect marriage of the two. So, wow, I guess that is not a good sign for that show. So, Echo's kind of setting the tone for Marvel Spotlight, and they say it's going to be different in a bunch of ways. They recently had a press conference where they showed off the trailer and they talked very briefly about Marvel Spotlight. Now, here is a quote from the head of streaming, Brad Winterbaum, who said, Marvel Spotlight gives us a platform to bring more grounded, character-driven stories to the screen. And in the case of Echo, focusing on street-level stakes over the larger MCU community. So is this going to be the destination for as street level characters that they say, like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, like, the guys who aren't shooting energy beams and flying into space? So will Marvel Spotlight be their home? Do you think that's the right idea for them? Or is that what you want? Ray, take this one first.
Yeah, I think that is the plan. I think it makes the most sense. I mean, obviously you're using Echo to kick things off, but right after that, we're gonna get Daredevil, and then maybe the Punisher after that. Yes. Those are the characters I'm most curious about. But I'm curious to see who else. Right? We know, right? You have Luke Cage, you have Iron Fist, you have the Defenders from the Netflix series. But is this where would they dare do something like maybe a Spider-Man series? Or something, right? Because again, obviously, No Way Home kind of leaves him off where more towards his roots, where he's on his own and all this other stuff. It would make a lot of sense. Or others more ancillary Spider-Man characters, a Black Cat or something like that. I'm curious to see where they will go, where they would go with that, because I don't think those characters at this point fit into the cosmic MCU that it feels like that they're going for with the films and everything else, right? With all the multiverse, right? Spider-Man's got his multiverse storyline all tied up. We'll see him again maybe in Secret Wars, and if it is, it's supposed to be Toby or Andrew or somebody else anyway than Tom Holland. I think Marvel Spotlight will be a great way to get back to the roots of like some of these earlier Marvel characters and their origins and getting down into the nitty-gritty. And yes, I think that is what we're going to see. We're going to see Luke Cage. We're going to see Punisher. And it's a pipe dream, but I would love to see them do like a Spider-Man series here and have him fight, the Shocker. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth.
Oh.
Not that.
So Mo notes that we have 2 Rays on this show, so it is Ray squared. While Nate is hoping for a good Iron Fist, not Sir Loris of whatever the hell he was. And Mo agrees that Iron Fist was terrible.
Well, when they ended Iron Fist, he wasn't Iron Fist anymore. It was the I forget the character's name, but it's the actress who was in the 4th Matrix movie and was really good in that. I would love to see her do something, especially if it was her teaming up with Misty Knight.
Oh, you mean Jessica?
Yeah, Jessica.
Come on.
I can't remember her name. But to have that version of Iron Fist and Misty Knight team up for something could be really cool.
So
I can't really see them doing Spider-Man though.
Yeah, he might be too big for Spotlight, even though it makes sense.
It does make sense from a narrative perspective, but just in terms of like it being, first of all, Sony still owns it, and like
right,
and like they're not gonna. Spider-Man is like such a huge character for Marvel, you know. Beyond, I mean, he was the biggest thing Marvel had going for years before all this started.
Right. Yeah. Plus, he's been to outer space, so he's like, I don't have time for this bank robbing shit.
Right. What I could see them maybe doing is doing like a Black Cat show and getting Tom Holland to like guest star once or twice.
Now, Paul, you brought up, and I hate going back to Madam Web again, but you brought up a great point that Sydney Sweeney, who plays the second Spider-Woman in Madam Web, would be a perfect Black Cat. I mean,
she would have been, yeah.
She's got the look, she's got the hair, so I mean that totally works.
Yeah, she would have been perfect, and I'm not the person who pointed that out. Someone mentioned that when they saw the trailer, but
I'm giving you credit for it.
I'll take it.
You brought it to Raymond's attention, so you get the credit.
Yes, exactly.
That $5 will get me a cup of coffee, as they used to say. Except they said it about a quarter. But yeah, she would have been absolutely perfect for that role, and that would be a good character to have on this street level thing. Although I think, quite frankly, they're going to do Iron Fist and Jessica Jones before that. The question is, are they going to do Iron Fist and Jessica Jones and explore that relationship, which they never really did in the Netflix show,
right? And
have them have a baby,
right?
You know, maybe some domestic bliss.
And troubles, because raising kids not easy, especially when both your parents are superheroes.
Right.
So I would love that show.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they even do the thing where he becomes the mayor, which is what's been going on in the comics.
So taking a step back for a second, the actor you were talking about was Jessica Hennick, of course. You did not pronounce the W. And she's becoming a geek goddess. I mean, she's in Marvel, she's in Star Wars, she's in The Matrix, she's in Game of Thrones. So, I mean, that's quite a nerd.
I know. She literally, what does she have to do next? She has to do a Godzilla movie.
She has to fight Godzilla.
Yeah, she has to fight Godzilla. She has to be in an Aliens movie. And she has to do the voice in an anime.
There you go. So back to the comments section really quickly. Wow, Mo is sad just thinking about Iron Fist. Wow. Carlos says Secret Wars would be a good time to introduce Miles Morales. Yes, I mean that would be a perfect time to do it.
Actually, maybe that's your Spider-Man for your TV show.
Do they have the? It's still Sony though, right?
Is it?
Sony would still have the rights to.
Boo! Sony stuff.
Well, maybe not. They might not.
No, because the Into the Spider-Verse stuff is Sony, right?
It's Sony, yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it, Sony! You're ruining everything.
Although, I mean, look, Sony plays nice with Marvel about this stuff now. Maybe they would say, let's do
for a
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
We'll co-produce it with you. Put it on. I mean, Sony doesn't have their own streaming service.
No. So it would be a great for the right. I'm sure money talks and BS walks for the right price. Sony would be more than happy to have a Miles Morales TV show.
Right. Can you do the $1 Million Man saying everybody's got a price?
Everybody's got a price.
Excellent. So what will actually happen is Sony will be like, you guys can have Morbius. And then
nobody won't. No. But I do agree with Paul's point, by the way. I think it would be great to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage
yes.
As a couple, as a power couple.
Yeah.
TV show. That would be interesting.
With Squirrel Girl babysitting like she did in the comics. I would love
that.
Oh God, yes.
Now we're talking, guys. Yeah. Now we're line up the Emmys, baby. We got it figured out here.
Yes. Well, they should give us jobs.
There was talk of doing Squirrel Girl at one point, and they wanted
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick was in the running, but also the woman who does those cell phone commercials. Melania Weintraub or something like that.
Yeah, she would be good. Yep.
And I think she actually ended up doing the voice of the character in a cartoon.
Anna Kendrick's probably aged out for Squirrel Girl now, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, she's more Squirrel Woman.
So Caleb adds, I would love to see anything Spider-Man series that dives into some of the other characters. Black Cat would be a fantastic character to have as an antagonist to. We know what Caleb means. He likes the boobs. So Google says the reason the show failed was because of the time constraints of the bad scheduling. I forgot the bad. Wow. Mo really hates Iron Fist. This is getting mean, but funnily so. So keep it coming, Mo. Nate adds, so the cast of Euphoria is being absorbed into the Spider-Verse. Got it. Hey, I will not complain about watching Sydney Sweeney, even if it's in a crap Madam Web movie. Man with headphones and beard is right. Yes. So in the last,
I love it that no one ever knows my name on this show, even though
there it is.
It's right there.
We had some guys.
I know it's an obscure name, but really,
they were watching mostly to just win the prizes, and they referred to Marcus as man with beard and glasses, and Paul as man with beard and no glasses. So that was an excellent. I think that you should change your title to that. No, don't do it. I want people to look you up on socials. So another point that was brought up about Marvel Spotlight is about MCU fatigue. Brad Wonderbaum said, just like comics fans didn't need to read Avengers or Fantastic Four to enjoy Ghost Rider Spotlight comic, our audience doesn't need to have seen other Marvel series to understand what's happening. And when he says what's happening, he's talking about what's happening in the MCU, not the show with Rerun and Raj. Is that too old of a reference? I don't care. I love that show.
We got it. We got it.
That's the important thing.
You made a Jay Sherman reference earlier. I mean,
that's true. I mean, superhero fatigue is a thing. There's a ton of movies and a ton of shows out there, and for people that aren't super comics nerds like us, it is too much. Let's face it. So, Paul, is this the answer? Is Marvel Spotlight the answer?
No. Because here's the thing. First of all, it's another superhero show, and that's how people are going to look at it. The fatigue is not. I mean, yes, there is some fatigue about having to follow every single Marvel show to understand the next one.
Right.
But a lot of the fatigue is just based on the fact that there's not just the Marvel stuff. There's the DC stuff, and then there's the non-Marvel DC stuff.
Like on Amazon, we have excellent Invincible going on right now.
You have Invincibles, you have The Boys, you have all this other comic book stuff. You have things that aren't based on a comic book, but are like made up. And so the idea that this is somehow gonna alleviate that, like, I don't see it, especially among people that aren't like comic book fans and aren't gonna get it. They're just gonna see, oh, there's another Marvel show I gotta watch, and they're probably gonna think they need to watch it to understand what's happening in the movies.
So real quickly, these guys get me. Carlos adds a hey, and Nate added a Fun-O-Mite, which is actually Good Times, not What's Happening, but also an excellent show.
Feel free to make a reference to the Doobie Brothers at some point.
Caleb adds, I don't think I can have Spider-Man fatigue. I'll always drop other superhero media for Spidey. Wow, that's interesting. The fatigue for me is that some of them end up not connecting to the bigger picture. So, I mean, in that respect, they're saying Echo and other Marvel Spotlight show won't have deep ties to the big MCU picture. So, Ray, do you think this is a good thing, bad thing?
No, I think I'm with Paul. I don't think this is going to alleviate the fatigue. And I think actually to the point that was just made in chat that, I think that it's kind of disappointing it's not connecting to the bigger universe. I think that there is a bit of a desire. I think that's part of the reason why, also I'll say this, good writing, people will never tire of good writing. Right. That's why Loki, that's why the Marvels, I think people are really enjoying them. And I think that it's kind of surpassing or getting past the potential fatigue because they are good well-written shows and films, right? And I think that if anything, if you are looking to alleviate fatigue, you do what they've actually done with their scheduling, which is next year, the only Marvel movie that's coming out is Deadpool 3. They've pushed everything else back.
Right, but not by choice, not by their choice. I mean, the strikes caused that.
The strikes partially, and also now they're going to do 8 months of reshoots supposedly for Captain America 4 because they said it was the worst screen tested Marvel film that they've ever had. So they're going to completely rewrite and reshoot it.
And Daredevil went back to the drawing board as well. So,
which again, it goes back to the point. It's not the fact that I think we're getting so much superhero stuff, which there is a lot out there. I think that a lot of it sucks.
Like Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion was terrible. I think everything from Phase 4 was terrible. I think everything up into the Marvels and Loki was not great. I think that's what people are, is that like, oh, I have to keep watching this stuff and keep going to see stuff that is not nearly as good as was great in the first 3 phases, just to keep up in case they do finally get their act together, which again, they finally seem to have. Right. So I think that's where the fatigue comes in. It's not just that there's a lot, it's that there's a lot of garbage. Right, lately.
Yes. So I agree with almost everything you said, but I will fight you on Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, I'll say this, Shang-Chi was good, but that's the other thing is that it kind of got buried because, again, it hasn't connected to anything yet.
Right.
Right, but one thing that I've said on Raymond's show a bunch of times is I think at some point all this stuff will connect. And I think that when it does, you're going to see people go back and watch some of this stuff. Like, we don't know how the Eternals connects to anything. We don't know how Shang-Chi connects to anything. We don't know a lot of this stuff, how it's going to connect ultimately. And I think that it will ultimately all connect, and then people will have to go back or will want to go back and watch it. It's kind of like, a lot of people didn't watch the Ms. Marvel show. But I think now they're probably going back and watching it because they're like, oh, we saw the movie. We love her. I want to see the more of her. Let's go watch this show.
And I hope they do because that was also actually a good show. I shouldn't say everything was terrible in Phase 4 and 5, but the vast majority of it, particularly the film.
I agree.
I agree. Aside from Shang-Chi being the exception, Ms. Marvel being an exception, Loki season 1 and 2.
I liked She-Hulk.
I liked She-Hulk until the very last episode. I don't think they stuck the landing.
Too meta for you, or
too meta. And then I think also with the ending there, I think we can spoiler alert. I think the ending with Hulk coming back with his son Scar at the end was just like, you're just gonna skip over the whole World War Hulk thing. Be like, Hulk goes away, goes to another planet, and then shows up and he's like, hey guys, I got a kid. That really irked me the wrong way.
Hey, Hulk has needs, man.
I get it, but we could have had a World War Hulk movie, and we didn't. It was an end scene on a series that was good up until the last episode.
Yeah, but don't you think they kind of blew the opportunity to do World War Hulk by having that whole thing be in the Ragnarok the Thor movie? Right.
You still could have. I still think you could have done something with Sakaar and all of that. I still think you could have, even if you changed the story some bit, because
right. But by that token, they could still go back and be like, this is what Hulk was doing. While She-Hulk was hanging out with the
sure. But then you get the Black Widow situation where it's like, nobody cares because we know she's going to be dead soon.
But I mean, Paul, in your mind,
what I'm saying is they could do a show or a movie that is set in the same time frame as She-Hulk, but after he disappears on the spaceship, but before he comes back.
But that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like you already know the beginning and you know the ending. Why if you know the ending, why do I care about the middle?
It can work. I mean, I think Rogue One is the best example of that. It's hard to do.
Titanic.
No,
I mean, come on. We all knew how that was going to end.
Sure. Okay.
And let's be honest, you always know how things are going to end. I mean, we knew before.
Oh.
Right. We all knew that Thanos was ultimately going to be defeated.
That's fair.
I mean,
the thing is it's one thing showing us the ending and then one thing waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they could still do it if they wanted.
They could, and the
problem is they don't own the rights to the Hulk, so they can't do it now.
Right.
Oh, who has that?
Universal.
Ah.
That's why there's never been another Hulk movie. That's why there's been no Hulk movie with Mark Ruffalo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this curing Marvel fatigue, honestly, I thought about it and then I didn't have a good answer because I think that's a pretty high level question. There's no easy way to do it because there are different types of fans. There are guys like us that have read comics their whole lives, and then there's people that know these characters just from the MCU movies, and there's no way to keep everyone happy. So no matter what, somebody will not like it. And as we're seeing now, the Marvels is really divisive. Like some of the fans hate it, even though they haven't seen it, they still hate it. But there are reasons for that. You know,
those
3
fans
women
are wrong.
2 women of color, 1 Muslim woman. So,
well, you know, it's interesting not to go off on a tangent about how much we love Ms. Marvel because we've already done it. But
go off. I love
there was somebody wrote a rather interesting article where they thought the cat scene was going to be very divisive and that people were going to be very split on it and even hate it. And they have found that actually that's not been the case at all, that people love the cat scene.
Wow.
Like, they thought for sure that people were going to think that was too silly and too goofy. And instead everyone's loving that. So
as well they should, because that scene is borderline genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
whole film was great. The whole film was phenomenal.
I'm really looking forward to hearing what you and Lee have to say about it, just to get more opinions.
We talked about it this past on the last week's episode. So
I will go back to that. Did he like it? Just really quickly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, he liked it as much as I did, and we think it was great. I think every aspect, every scene. Again, I know you guys talked about it, but I'll give it quickly. I love how every scene really highlighted the differences between the three women and their personalities. I mean, the scene on the singing planet is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is like completely like embarrassed, but she knows she's got to do what she's got to do. Photon is obviously, she's like looking at it from a scientist perspective. She's trying to analyze and figure things out. And then you got Ms. Marvel. You got Kamala just having a great time. She's dancing and singing along with everybody. I think it's just a perfect microcosm of the film as a whole there. Even though it is, again, another very silly kind of scene, really,
I want to live on that planet, by the way.
Oh, God.
Atlanta.
I do not. I am happy. There's a lot of other planets I'd love to see. This, I'm going to pass on the singing planet.
No, I mean, singing, even getting angry at someone singing is fantastic. You could be like Pavarotti and be like, fuck you. So that's perfect right there. Now, let's hop back into the comments section for a bit. Blade movie is still circling. Yes.
Yeah, they're having problems.
It's a problem when your lead wants to bail.
Yeah.
So, Mo adds, I did not like Secret Invasion. However, I enjoyed Loki. Paul is right. Connect those dots. So you liked Iron Fist? No. Just kidding. The second Ray is right. Nate adds, Hulk smashed.
So is Raymond like original Ray's pizza and Carsillo is like famous Ray's pizza?
For simplicity's sake, Ray C can be Ray and I'll be Raymond. That's how we do it.
All right.
And it works for everyone.
Famous Rays, famous original Rays.
There's a monster at the end of this book. Oh, I always thought Grover was such a doofus growing up. I'm like, it's you, Dick. Come on. And then the whole, this is near, this is far. I'm like, why is this idiot running back and forth? I get what near and far is. Mo is here for X-Men. Yes. Johan adds, exactly. So many people waiting for X-Men. Yes. Now that's not in the clutches of Fox, that will be excellent. Mo loved the cat scene with the octopi. Well, technically they're tentacles. I mean, it's part of them. So it is not a separate creature. So yeah, let's classify those as tentacles. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I am giving away a Turtle Beach Stealth Pro. Here's a little bit more about the contest and what you have to do. This is Raymond with the last Turtle Beach hardware giveaway of 2023. Up for grabs is this amazing Turtle Beach Stealth Pro headset. It's compatible with all current consoles, PC, Mac, and most Bluetooth devices. So whether you're playing games or listening to music on your phone, this is an excellent headset to do it on. For a chance to win this headset, you must do 3 things. First, you have to have a US mailing address. Second, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And third, you have to leave a comment on my next show, which airs on Thursday, November 16th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The contest will remain open until the following Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, even though this is the last Turtle Beach hardware giveaway of the year, I will be giving away a bunch of game codes in December, so stay tuned for those giveaways. As always, thank you for watching, and good luck to everyone that enters the contest. Haha, so please enter and stuff and tell your friends about it. Don't be selfish and try to keep the chances for yourself. Now, as both of you mentioned, particularly Ray, that Marvel Spotlight could be the next destination for the characters that we knew and loved from Netflix. Now, do you think we will see all of them there, even Iron Fists, or will we see other street level heroes that are popular? Is there anyone you think that should join the crew? What do you think, Paul Semel?
I think, well, we know that Daredevil is going to be in there. I mean,
Yes.
He was in She-Hulk. He's going to be in Echo. He's got his own show.
And he's in the IMDb credits for Echo already. So
I don't know if Kristen Ritter is anywhere on this thing. And I don't know if, I think it's Mike Cotlier is his name. The guy who plays Iron Fist.
Oh, Paul can't remember the black guy's name. I see what's going on.
Yeah. Keep trying. I think to be honest with you, there's probably going to be the interest there. The question is whether they will want to do it. Like, I think that if Kristen Ritter doesn't want to do it, they're not going to recast just to do the Jessica Jones show.
I have heard that she is interested, but
Right.
Michael is a borderline one at this time, and no one gives a shit about Finn Jones. So
Right. Well,
you'll notice how I cut him out of this screen. He's actually in this photo. He's actually standing right next to Luke Cage, but
right.
I
Well,
got
don't
rid
forget,
of him.
like we said earlier, at the end of Iron Fist, he wasn't the Iron Fist anymore. Jessica Henwick was. So Hennick. Is it Hennick?
There's a W, but you don't pronounce it. Kind of like Warwick Davis. You don't pronounce the second W in Warwick Davis.
Huh,
Where's your
didn't know
second
that.
W?
Warwick.
Yeah, Warwick. It's spelled Warwick.
Oh, it is.
Right.
You're right. Oh my God, I've been saying that wrong since the 1970s. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's really up to them because people did love those two shows, Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, and I think people would want them to come back. It's simply a matter of, I mean, Mike Cotlier was doing a show for CBS.
I don't watch too much network TV, so I'm very
he was
unfamiliar with it.
doing some weird demon show for CBS, and the woman who plays Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter, had a baby and she took some time off. So, I mean, I think if they can get them to do it, they'll do it. If they don't, then they're going to be like, okay, moving on. Let's do something else. But I would be surprised if they didn't come back. I think it's less about the desire, but more about their scheduling.
Right.
If Kristen Ritter is in the middle of doing a TV show for somebody else or doing a bunch of movies, then she's not going to come. Then she won't be able to come back. I think maybe that's the better way to put this.
How about you, Ray? Do you think we'll see the Marvel Netflix guys in Marvel Spotlight?
I don't think they'll get their own series. A lot of them again. I think we'll get Daredevil. I think we might get Punisher. And I think in order of then kind of like Paul said, I think we then with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist way down here. I think that you might more likely see maybe a cameo or so at some point across other shows. Again, I think I mentioned it earlier. I think something like a Black Cat or something would be a great way to possibly expand the Marvel roster, but also get somebody new in there. So yeah, I think that I think we won't see them again in terms of their own series, but I would definitely not rule out a cameo. I think partially because, like Paul said, scheduling and whatnot, and I don't think there's any like bad blood there. But I think also Marvel is kind of, not that they want to distance themselves from the Netflix shows, but they also definitely have like a hierarchy of where like the importance of these characters are, and I think that because of the fan base, and I think the reception, I think Daredevil is higher on that list. Punisher's higher on that list than Jessica and Luke and Iron Fist. And I think that there's other characters they'd rather explore at this point. Even Squirrel Girl more than so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the idea that we had of having a Luke and Jessica show with Squirrel Girl as the babysitter.
Yeah. We also don't know how well these shows have done on Disney Plus. That's the other I mean, because if like let's say for the sake of argument that Jessica Jones didn't do very well for Disney Plus at all, but Iron Fist did, or Luke Cage did, but Iron Fist didn't, then that's going to influence, same with the Punisher. Like for all we know, the Punisher show didn't do well for Disney Plus. And so they may be like, well, John Barenthal is super busy. Let's, maybe we'll get him back at some point, but you're not going to worry about it.
Ray's idea of them making cameos makes a lot of sense, especially if they want to use smaller characters like Echo. And as they said, they want to do more character-driven things. So they can add those cameos for a little pizzazz or a ratings bump. Now, these Netflix guys seem popular with the comments crowd here. Mo wants all three of these shows, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones. Johan adds that he wants to see more of the Punisher. Mo wants some Punisher too.
See, Punisher, though, has become a bit more controversial in the years since that show first aired on Netflix.
I mean, what's happened since then?
Yeah.
I mean, he's become, for people that don't know what we're talking about, the Punisher symbol has been used by the alt-right.
Yeah, they actually changed the symbol in the comics to combat that.
And it's stupid for them to use it because it does not represent what the character represents, but I'm not going to try to figure out.
And he's also been adopted by the cops as well.
Nate adds that Punisher is kind of controversial now since some police officers adopted the Punisher symbol, which makes no sense.
But then again, they could also look at it as here's a way to redeem this character somewhat.
That's I feel bad for the writer that would be tasked with that. I mean,
that would be a tall task.
Yeah.
Sure. But
Carlos says, I don't want to live in a multiverse where Iron Fist is better than Jessica. Yeah, let's pretend in all our heads that Iron Fist did the worst on Disney Plus than any of the other Netflix shows. So I will not accept another answer.
Did we ever find out how well those shows did on Netflix?
They do not reveal numbers, so no, but everything I've heard, they were happy with them. Mo is skipping universes. She said Green Arrow had too many laurels.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to bring Green Arrow into the Marvel.
No, she's saying Paul. So Mo, Paul doesn't watch these shows. So they had Laurel Lance from their Earth who died. Then they had a future Laurel. Then they had a Laurel from another dimension.
Right.
They had Laurel and Hardy. I don't know. I just threw that one in there.
I want to ask something to you guys. What about? I mean, I mentioned Spider-Man earlier, but what about other movies possibly coming in, like the Thunderbolts or some characters like that coming into the TV aspect?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those characters are there. There's the movie's still in the works, but some of them have been forgotten. Like the girl in Ant-Man 2. Was she just Ghost? Was that the name of her character?
Yeah, she's in the Thunderbolts.
But we haven't heard a peep from her or a mention of her at all.
Right.
We have Wyatt Russell as U.S. agent, of course.
I would love a U.S. agent TV show, actually, personally.
And he's a strong actor. He has a very powerful dad that can get him his roles.
Yeah, that can get him his own show.
I could see them doing a Young Avengers TV show with Riri Williams and Cassie Lang and the other kids, and have it be thing. And actually, what I sort of see is them being like, okay, we need to like train these kids on how to be a superheroes and a superhero team. So let's bring in Bruce Banner.
You have a teacher of the week kind of deal.
Exactly.
Well, even do like the the superhero and the 50 States Initiative, right? Post Civil War, you could do.
Yeah,
and you could bring in a lot of others.
But
that's I want to put in my name right now to be Butterball from Marvel Universe. I perfectly fit that role.
But I'm also thinking old Captain America, Steve Rogers. You get him to come in and be like a mentor to them in an episode somehow. You get Spider-Man to come in. You get Doctor Strange to come show up one day. Especially since America Chavez would be there. So
right. I love that idea conceptually, but that show is not on the slate yet. So that would be at least 2-3 years away. And I think a lot would depend on if any of these actors blow up. I mean, Haley Steinfeld has already been in a lot of big movies.
Yeah, but she was in a lot of big movies before this.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think she will do a series. And who knows what will happen to the other ones. They all have tons of potential as actors. So
yeah. But plus, in terms of the Young Avengers, I mean, the fact that they hinted at it at the end of the Marvels makes me think they want that to be a movie. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe not. I mean, you got to remember, this isn't like old TV where you committed to a series and you had to sign a 5-year contract and you were shooting 10 months out of the year, like they do with like network shows. I mean, Ms. Marvel was 6 weeks.
Right. But that I don't mean by that, but I mean, in 3 years, what if between now and when they would start filming, Iman Vellani totally blows up? I don't think she wants to take a step back. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, there is this divide in Hollywood between movies and TV where, they kind of, the movie people look down.
Well, yeah, except that divide has really gone away. I mean, look, you got.
I wouldn't say it. It's a lesson.
It hasn't gone away, but it's seriously. I mean, like the fact that you have Mark Ruffalo showing up on She-Hulk, the fact that you have, there's all these big TV stars, big movie stars doing TV shows. I mean,
but they're doing prestige TV. They're not doing like network. So
right.
Yeah, but I could, based on what she has said about it, I could see Hallie wanting to do another show where she's Kate Bishop, especially if they said to her, "Look, we're gonna do like this 6-episode show. It's gonna take 6 weeks, and then we're gonna film all your Avengers stuff."
I mean, if she has both, I mean, she would be getting a killer paycheck from Disney. So yeah. Sure, I'm sure she would do that.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point of doing the Young Avengers TV show would be to whip them into shape so that when they fight whoever it is, they end up Kang, Doctor Doom,
right?
Galactus.
But to address that, Nate brings up a point. I mean, the cameos that you mentioned sound expensive along what the cast would command in 2 or 3 years if they blow up. So I mean, that's my point. Really,
we also don't know what contract they signed to begin with. I mean, they may have Iman Vellani on a 20-year contract where she gets paid $1 a day.
Yeah, we'll see. Carlos has an interesting idea from a show: Black Widow and Red Guardian buddy cop show. I mean, both those actors are fantastic, both dramatically and comedically. So that could be an excellent series. Caleb adds that Paul's idea feels similar to Young Justice, which was an excellent show, by the way.
And that's a good question. Then do you go animated with something like that? Like what if?
That would be a lot cheaper because you're just paying for voice. Yeah. And it would be a lot quicker. That's a really interesting idea. Paul, would you like your idea in an animated form or would you want it live action?
I would prefer live action, which is a weird thing for me to say because I worshipped at the altar of the animated gods. But
Caleb,
I'm available for Butterball either way. Again, why don't you just put that out there?
Hire this man. Caleb, did Young Justice finish? I thought Young Justice was still going. So should that be an excellent show? I don't remember. Paul is.
Who knows what's going on over at Max at this point? No, everybody canceled. So
yeah, they suck.
Yes.
Paul is describing Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Children. Yes, kind of in a way.
Kind of, yeah. Except that they wouldn't be mutants.
That could be interesting too. Is that once the X-Men are there, do you have maybe some shows, animated or live action, for smaller X-Men like Dazzler or something like?
Not if they get Taylor Swift.
I realized that after it came out of my mouth. I'm like, well, if Taylor Swift, it's not going to happen. But like, you can have, I don't know, what is it? That was a Blob Herman, right? Like, let's get the Blob Herman show. Let's go.
Or the kids in that Wolverine and the X-Men comic book run.
You can get you can have some
Brew. I love Brew.
Yeah.
And so Caleb says, I've always thought Marvel missed an opportunity to do more animated and churn out more quality content like the DC animated films.
Tried, yeah, it didn't land a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of them sucked, whereas DC's animation was really good and the movie sucked. Caleb says, haven't heard of Young Justice being canceled, but it's years between seasons at this point. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of they lost a lot of time during COVID. And then we had a writer's strike, so there was no one to write those episodes. So
and an actor's strike.
Yeah. So, and for people that don't know, Ray is also a voice actor as well. That's why when I need like silly voices or cool voices, I call to Ray to do that.
I actually just got cast in a new narrative podcast that I can't talk about, so I'm excited about that.
Interested to see that. Yes. We still don't know what X-Men 97 is bringing us. That is
that's a good point.
Yeah. You're very wise today, Carlos. What's going on? I feel weird. No, I'm just kidding. And so another use of Marvel Spotlight that was alluded to but not definite is that it might be the home for more violent characters and stories. As we saw in the trailer, there was a ton of violence there. Kingpin actually violently beats the crap out of someone, as you can see from his blood-stained suit.
Yep.
So do you think Marvel Spotlight would work as, the place for the ultra-violent stories, like things involving the Kingpin and the Punisher? Ray, take this one.
Yeah, no, I think that this is actually a good idea of keeping the R-rated stuff under a separate brand or label. I think it's going to be easier because a lot of the Marvel stuff is considered more family friendly. I know I have a lot of friends who have kids who like to take their kids to the films or whatever and whatnot. And I think that knowing that right off the bat, like, oh, this isn't something that little Jack should watch, right? Like, little Billy it's not appropriate for Billy and Susie. I think that's a good thing. I think especially after all this time of building the brand with families and children who are now probably more like teenagers and whatnot, and knowing what they're getting into, I think that this is a good idea for them, that if they want to go more violent with like the Kingpin and Daredevil and Punisher and some of these shows that we've pitched, again, we're all available for work. Disney, I think it's a great thing. I think this is a good thing. And I think it's people, because there are those of us in the audience who obviously want that Netflix vibe for some of these characters where it fits. And I think that you want to keep that. You want to keep church and state separate. I think it's a good idea.
Paul, do you think Marvel Spotlight could work as kind of like a Marvel Max did for the comics? Do you think that would be the thing?
I mean, it would be like the Marvel Knights of the thing. Yeah, and Ray squared is correct. I mean, the reality is that with a handful of exceptions, R-rated movies don't usually make nearly as much as in the box office.
Right.
And when you've already said like, hey, everything up to this point is PG-13, and you have kids going and families going, like, it would be commercial suicide to do like, say, an R-rated Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
Those are both excellent points. I wasn't thinking about the family aspect, Ray, because I don't have kids. And Paul, I did not think about the monetary aspect of it, but that completely makes sense. And Nate here agrees with you. Marvel Knights and Spotlight. He actually wrote that before you said it, but that could totally work. That would be very interesting. Now, the last question of the day, and we kind of hinted on this a bit, but what Marvel Comics characters would you like to see in Marvel Spotlight? Picture show, Paul.
Well, like I said earlier, the Misty Knight and Jessica Hennick Iron Fist would be a big one for me. I I guess I don't know if She-Hulk would fall into that, but I certainly would like to see another She-Hulk show.
Right.
I could see Ghost Rider being a good one for that.
That actually ties in because he was introduced in the Marvel Spotlight comics in the 70s.
Right. And he was I mean, like, in a weird way, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of like the Marvel Spotlight before it was really the Marvel Spotlight, because it was, they weren't dealing with like cosmic stuff at that point. And
right.
he was in that.
But they're not quite street level.
Shield, yeah. I mean, you'd have to go a little bit bigger with him, but that's okay. Jessica Jones, of course, would be a big one for me. They're already doing Daredevil. I feel like we kind of, the Black Cat comedy hour. How
about you, Ray? Who would you like to see in your dream Marvel Spotlight series?
Well, they technically did a show with them years ago on a streaming service or something. I don't even remember what it was, but nobody watched it. Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, right. On that,
I don't know anybody who watched that show, or I have no idea even what it was on. I don't know anybody who watched that show.
I watched that show.
You actually watched the show. You're the one.
I did.
You're the one. You're the first person I met, Raymond. Like, honestly, I think bring back Cloak and Dagger. Even maybe see if you can just get that show, put it on, do the same thing you did with the Netflix shows. Bring back Cloak and Dagger. I think. Thinking of other Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Firestar. I would love to see like a Firestar show.
Who would you cast as Firestar?
That is a great question.
Yeah,
that is a great question, because you need. She obviously would probably be on the younger side, right? Like, kind of like Amon, who's in her early 20s. You'd want her to, because Firestar, especially in the Spider-Man and Amazing Friends, when she was introduced in the 80s, they were all just in college together.
Right.
So
natural redhead would be best.
Yeah.
The woman who was in Blended, she's all grown up now. I forgot the actor's name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Sorry, I'm lost. I can't think.
I am IMDb.
I know. I know who exactly. She was. Yeah.
But no. Again, I think Firestar would be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Bella Thorne.
Yeah. Sorry. There you go. Although her post-blended career might moot that whole thing. So
she is on OnlyFans. Not in an explicit way, but yeah.
I don't think Disney wants those fans necessarily. But I think I think
expand the audience.
Yes, again PG-13. But no, I mean, at least for Spotlight, right. I mean, again, I think it doesn't. If you're not, it doesn't. Again, not every show on Spotlight has to be rated R. I definitely don't think a Firestar show would be rated R unless she's like committing arson everywhere or something. But like, I think so those are the characters that I think of, especially if you're sticking with the street level. You're sticking to New York City. You're thinking again. I'm thinking of people who are Daredevil and Spider-Man, tangential to Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're forgetting somebody, and I happen to get a new book today. Elektra.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hey, Ray, Johan watched Cloak and Dagger, so there are two of us.
I can't believe it. Was it good? At least, please. Tell me, please. Was it good?
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. You can redo Cloak and Dagger.
Nate says the girl from It would be good as Firestar. That's a very interesting one.
She's a good actress too.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm going to tell you my picks for Marvel Spotlight, but please drop some of yours in the comments section. It's funny that you brought up Cloak and Dagger, Ray, because The Runaways was also on that network, and I did like that show. Not as good as the comics, which I love, but I'd love to see those guys there. Kicking it back to the origins of Marvel Spotlight, that's kind of where Son of Satan made his name. So that would be kind of cool to do more occult, creepy stuff there, kind of like how DC did with John Constantine. So maybe Marvel could use Spotlight for, satanic stuff like his son. And we talked about Squirrel Girl already. She does fit in on that street level thing, even though she did beat up Thanos once, which I do love. Not violent, but I love that character so much. And I would love to see her in some crazy comedic adventure where every now and then she overachieves and beats up someone that she has no business touching. So I think in the comics,
that's one I can see working really well as a cartoon.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they had her beat up Thanos, they had her beat up Doctor Doom, and it's just completely
Galactus. She pounded Galactus.
I mean, that is fantastic stuff.
If you're gonna go supernatural, maybe a Brother Voodoo.
Oh, yes. I love that. I would love to see more magic-y, occulty stuff and the Marvels.
Well, especially if with Doctor Strange, you're bringing in now Hera and everything. Like, I think that you could start. But again, they've already opened up a huge can of worms with the multiverse and all this cosmic stuff. Maybe they put the magic stuff onto the back burner for a little bit.
Howard the Duck.
Redemption.
Howard the Duck.
No more Guardians cameos. A proper series,
with Seth Green doing his voice, and they used the model that they had on the thing.
So this isn't street level, and it isn't violent. But Nate says Wong deserves a show. I would watch the hell out of a Wong show. Carlos thinks Wong and Madison, who's the character. I would watch both of those shows.
The fact that hasn't been put in development yet is insane.
You get Wong and Madison to do a show where they watch other shows and movies and comment on them.
They watch Madam Web and talk about how horrible it is.
Yeah.
And watch Morbius next.
Mystery Science Theater 3000. Marvel's Science Theater 4000.
Because what did they watch together? They watched Sopranos together in She-Hulk? Was that the one they did?
Yeah, she spoiled the Sopranos for him. But
I love that she calls them Wanners.
How funny would it be if they watched other Marvel shows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they watched the original Hulk movie and just like,
or even go back to that Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man show from the 70s. They could watch the Incredible Hulk.
David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Oh God.
This is gold.
The Fantastic Four movie that Roger Corman made that they won't put out.
Yeah.
And the Star Wars Christmas special. There you go.
The Bill Baxter series with the Hulk. What else did they have back then?
Oh yeah. I don't know if they have the
Bill Bixby, sorry.
Bill Bixby, yeah. There's
and
like a whole like an Avengers movie, TV.
That piano riff always made me sad at the end when he's like walking down the road, fucking off, and then dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
One of the best moments in the She-Hulk show was when they did the parody of the opening.
Yes, I love that.
And she's all like, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry."
Carlos says that he still hasn't watched The Sopranos. I have only watched a handful of episodes, only because my roommate at the time was watching it. And this actually came up on, I think it was Seth Meyers had Villani on, where she's into The Sopranos now. And Seth was like, that first came out before you were born. And it made him feel really old. I'm like, shit, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's more than 21 years ago? God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's 21.
Yeah.
And it didn't. The Sopranos. She was alive for the conclusion.
Right.
That definitely started before she was born. Oh my god.
Well, that's a sobering.
Yeah. End the show, Raymond. End the show. Land the plane, buddy.
So those are our thoughts on Marvel Spotlight. I had a great time talking about this stuff. Both of you made me think about aspects of it that I did not think about before, and I hope we did the same for you. We'd love to hear your thoughts about Marvel Spotlight, so leave your thoughts in the comments section. Ray and Paul, say goodbye before I tease my next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
And you won't believe what we're doing next. Well, no, what we're doing next after next. Next week in America is Thanksgiving, so we will not have a show on our regular Thursday. But the following week, my friend McLean Marshall will be dropping by, where we're going to be talking about Why Your Highness is an underrated movie. And I seriously mean that without any irony or sarcasm. I think it's the airplane of fantasy movies. You've been watching RPAD TV, and we'll see you next time.